Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are returning to the My Favorite WWF LJN Wrestling Superstars tournament. We are in round 1, part 4 of the tournament. So today we are going to start off with, looks like Andre number 1 as he squares off. So number 1, Andre number 1, as he squares off against number 55, Santa Claus. So we're gonna start off with the Santa Claus figure. So Santa Claus actually did extremely well in my tournament last time around. It was his first introduction into the My Favorite LJN tournament in year 3. So this is actually one my wife did. You guys know my wife is not an artist. She is not a drawer. She is not a sculptor, a painter, nothing like that. It's just one day last year, she and I pulled out some figures. I figured, you know, we went to like, I don't know, Michael's or something like that. I bought some paint. I'm like, you know what? I had some figures, some beat up figures. I wanted to touch them up. I tried touching up a King Kong Bundy. Completely screwed up the paintwork on it. It just shows up my level of incompetence, right? But I saw a picture of a Hillbilly Jim remade to look like Santa Claus, and I asked my wife, hey, you feel like doing some artwork? And she did an amazing job. Like, you look at that work from that artist, you look at this, and like, incredible. Now, by throwing this metal hook on this, I actually kind of screwed up her artwork because, again, the metal cutting into the figure has actually, like I said, it's cut into the paint. So it's left these marks on the paint itself. But other than that, I mean, the figure was flawless. And in early stages of this tournament, you know, first couple of tournaments, I really didn't hold the Hillbilly Jim figure itself to a higher esteem, which was sad because later on I really did get a much better appreciation for Hillbilly Jim. Maybe because when I looked at Hillbilly Jim, I was looking at it more from like a financial standpoint. When you look at like Iron Sheiks and Nikolai Volkovs and Hillbilly Jim, Jesse Ventura, you know, was one of the more, those are like very customizable figures. Everyone and their mom are taking those figures. Why? Because they're cheap, they're affordable. They're basically your $5, $6, $7 figures that everybody are buying. They're cutting up, they're customizing because you can do so much with them. You're not going out, you're not spending $80 on Honky Tonk Man or Rick Martel and figures like that because there's no profit to be made on them. But a Hillbilly Jim figure in general is exactly the type of figure I'm looking for. It's a bigger, heavier figure that I'm looking for. I mean, a play pose isn't all of that I'm looking for, but it's more than a serviceable piece. Now, we can't look at this as Hillbilly Jim, right? We have to look at this as Santa Claus. The fact that we are in November and we are closing in on the month of December, we are closing in on my favorite holiday, Christmas, that makes figures like this speak to me even more. The fact that this is a product created for me by my wife, it makes it even more... it makes it even more emotionally drawn to this particular piece. So, love the paint, the artwork that's done on it. Love the colors, how it pops, beard and everything. It is a fantastic all-around piece. Is it something that could legitimately win this tournament? Probably not. Is it something that can do a lot of damage in this tournament? Is it a type of figure that could eliminate a lot of heavy hitters and go very far? We're talking 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds, and a 7 or 8 round tournament. It is. It's that type of piece. Andre the Giant Series 1. This is one of those figures that is a conundrum to me. Among all of the LJNs, this is probably the one piece that gets so much slack, and I never understand it. A lot of the hate that comes with the Andre Series 1 always centers around his forehead. Because the talk is he's got this big, elongated forehead. And then you look at like the Series 2, they move away from the long-haired afro. They give him, the post haircut, the short-haired Andre, the smaller forehead, the smaller head. He doesn't have this big old head, and it's in their eyes a better figure. Fine. Does it look more like Andre with the Series 2? Perhaps. But when I talk about my favorite figures, I always put Andre the Giant Series 1 on that list. Yeah. When I talk about favorite Andres, I usually say, okay, here, Blackstrap Andre as, like, let's say 3A as an example. Maybe Series 2 is 3B, Series 1 is 3C. Because you can't really say 3, 4, 5, right? It just doesn't make sense. Or I completely eliminate that, and I just say Series 1 Andre, my third favorite figure, just for sake of argument. I don't even count Series 2 or Series 6 in that regard. And when you look at like Series 2 and 6, they're like, right? With their arms are pushed in just a pinch. Compared to Series 1, where the arms are just slightly extended just a bit more. So it gives it just a little bit more of a play pose to it, a little bit more of a fightability to it. So I actually really love the Series 1 Andre the Giant. When I talk about my favorite LJNs, there's a reason I say Series 1 LJN Andre the Giant is on that top 10. Why I don't even mention the Series 2 or 6. In terms of color scheme and eye-popping figures, yeah. Greg Valentine, Andre the Giant. These particular figures that are so perfect, but what's wrong with them? One flat, solid color on each. Just simple boot, trunks. That's it. In a figure tournament, I want more than just simply play pose, right? I know a lot of people, they want that in-ring gear, playable. I got it. And a lot of people that, if they're making a My Favorite LGN tournament, a figure like this could be their winner. It's their tournament, well within their rights, correct? But for me, this is my number one go-to. But I also want something like this. I want those catching, eye-popping colors and paint scheme. I want those like the Mark Hackenberg. Think about like the Don Morocco with the tidal wave T-shirt, or like the tie-dye where it looks like somebody's like high on acid or something, with the spirals of the T-shirt, something like that. Where you look at it and you feel like you're like you're definitely tripping, right? Something like that. Those are so freaking cool. Like those, like for lack of a better term, they speak to you, because like I said, those tie-dye T-shirts with the Don Morocco. You literally look at the T-shirts and you feel like you're literally getting high up from just staring at the T-shirt, because it's that freaking insane. The personal connection, because it's made by the wife. It's a great figure. I love the Hillbilly Jim figure nowadays. It's not something I classify as bottom tier anymore. It really is a mid tier, possibly top 30 best figures among the LJNs. Santa Claus, among your fabled characters, fictional characters, one of my favorites. I love Christmas. Great play pose, great bulk to the figure, color scheme is incredible. Someone that did extremely well, I think he made it to like 5 rounds in like a 320 figure tournament last time around. I just cannot put him over Andre the Giant. I think I have all 3 original Andre the Giants in this tournament, series 1, 2, and 6. I might have 1 custom Andre in this tournament, if I'm not mistaken. I might have more. I don't really remember. So I have at least a bare minimum 4 Andre the Giants in this tournament. So it just goes to show how much I covet these particular figures. When I saw this first matchup, I was really torn. Like, I wanted to cheat the system and be like, no, I don't want that matchup. But this is a random drawing, and I can't go against the randomizer, right? Eventually, you're going to have these sort of matchups, whether it's in the first round, the third round, the fifth round. It's going to happen eventually. So, you might as well just peel off the Band-Aid now and get it over with. I'm just sad to see such an awesome piece gone so early in the tournament. But Andre the Giant is going to be pushed forward to the next round. All right. So, this should be a really fun one right here to talk about. Number 126, Bad News Brown, takes on number 95, the Mountie. So, the Mountie actually comes from the WWF. And the WWF, I probably have about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 or so custom figures from him as a seller. This is actually the only custom that I actually chose from him to participate in this tournament. I could have gone with Vader or the Steiner brothers. I could have gone with his British Bulldog, etc. His Kane figure. I decided the Mountie was the only one that I felt like really had a bona fide chance. With the figures that are in this tournament, I felt like this is really the only one that really solidified himself as a potential candidate to go to the end. Could he win? Based on the right matchups, potentially. So, the Mountie. Very well possibly the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. With the greatest run ever. Yes. A full 2 days as champion. Now, how many can say that? Sorry. Gotta stop being a smartass now. I actually really like the Mountie, so I get it. Some folks might be like hating on the Mountie for being a Intercontinental Champion, but hey, the fact is he was champion. I don't care if he was champion for 13 minutes or if he was champion for 2.5 years. He held the title. That's all that matters. At the end of the day, he could retire a wrestler knowing that he was a champion. So, and it's funny that the storyline behind his run as Intercontinental Champion, actually defeating fellow Canadian Bret Hart, who was Intercontinental Champion at the time. And I guess the story was that Bret Hart was sick. Like, they couldn't even let Bret Hart, they couldn't make it like a clean sweep. You know, he just defeated a healthy Bret Hart. No, Bret Hart was sick, and that's how the Mountie defeated him. Like, he went against doctor orders or some BS. I'm like, whatever. So, what was it? I know it was 1992. Was it Royal Rumble, if I recall correctly? I think Mountie defeated Bret Hart at the 92 Royal Rumble. And no. I gotta recap that because I gotta look that up now. because I know the matchup with Piper and Hart was WrestleMania 92. So I might have this. I might have that wrong. It might have been Piper that defeated Mountie at Royal Rumble 92. So if it wasn't Mountie and Hart, it might have been just like a regular TV taping or regular house show or something. Once I end this video, I'm gonna go back and look that up because I could have that. I could have that wrong, but somebody won a championship at a Royal Rumble. I know that for sure because I mean I was old enough to at least remember that part. I could have that wrong. I think maybe Mountie might have defeated Bret Hart at like a regular show, and maybe Piper defeated Mountie at Royal Rumble. You know what? I think that's what happened. Piper defeated Mountie at Royal Rumble, and then like 3 months later at WrestleMania 92, Bret Hart defeated Roddy Piper to recapture the Intercontinental title. Just a little side note. You guys remember the movie Best of the Best? And I don't know if WWF was like kind of ripping off that movie during the 92 WrestleMania, but during WrestleMania 8, and I don't know why WrestleMania does not get the most love of all the WrestleManias, but that was fantastic. Savage versus Flair, Vicious versus Hogan, Piper versus Bret Hart. How is that not among the greatest WrestleManias ever? Okay. Shoot, even what was the opening match? Was it Santana and Michaels or something like that? I think even that was a good matchup. But if you remember the movie Best of the Best, like there was like a American martial artist versus I think like Korean martial art fighters, and in the movie, this Korean fighter during one of their tournaments, he killed one of these American fighters. Well, one of the American fighters that were killed, his brother was participating in these tournaments, and so right at the end of the movie, he's got the Korean guy that killed his brother. He's down on his luck. He's about to die. One single swift kick that he's done for. We're not talking about he's going to win the match. No, he's literally going to kill that guy with one single kick. One kick, one punch, he's dead. He spared him. He didn't touch him. He let the clock run out. Korean team ends up winning. Well, the Korean team the guy walks over, talks to the guy. Yeah, he lets him know how much he respected his brother, and so on. And he basically gives the gold medal over to that team, and so on. I did a shitty job explaining that movie, but anybody that watched that movie, they know what I'm talking about. So, WrestleMania 8, same scenario with Roddy Piper and Bret Hart. Bret Hart, he's down. Match is over. Piper's got it locked up. Piper's got a freaking bell in his damn hand. He's about to knock Bret Hart out. Okay. Bret Hart's injured. He's out. I mean, he has no chance of overtaking Piper in this match. Piper does the professional thing. He does the manly thing, the respectful thing. Gets rid of the bell. Doesn't attack Bret Hart. Eventually, Bret Hart rolls him up and ends up defeating him. The belts swap hands, and of course, Piper again doing the noble thing that being the nobleman that he is. He dresses him with the belt and everything. But I think about that match a lot, and I think about that movie, and I'm like, very, very a lot of similarities between the two. But anyways, I picked up this one right here. I didn't buy this one from Ram Treasures. This Bad News Brown. I actually bought this from a seller on eBay. I think it's called Barcon or something. And I got a number of Ram Treasure figures from this seller. And this is what I'm talking about. You can buy a brand new figure from Ram Treasures, pay about $130, $140 for them. Get it directly from Ram Treasures, right? Right out of the package. Take photos, list it on eBay directly. 99-cent auction, let's say free shipping. It will probably sell on eBay for about $50 to $70. The only time you're ever going to pay $130 plus is if you buy from Ram Treasures directly. These things are not worth $100 plus. That's what I'm saying. They're literally the only company that's going to make that type of money. If you think that you would ever be able to buy these from Ram Treasures and then resell them and get your money back, you won't. They are what they are. They're $70, $80 figures at most. But luckily, I was able to pick up a bunch of new figures. You know, Sid Vicious in blue, the extra Bushwhackers, the extra green Mr. Perfect, the red Bad News Brown. I actually got this. I was actually planning on using him as like, I don't know, Ahmed Johnson or something maybe. It's not a good figure. The whole arm up was bad. I didn't need another Bad News Brown. The only reason he's part of this tournament is because Bad News Brown in red was never part of a previous tournament. And in fact, the only reason the Sid Vicious in blue is included in this tournament is because he wasn't part of a previous tournament. Bushwhackers in green are part of this tournament because they were never part of previous tournaments. But the green Mr. Perfect, I don't think I included the green Mr. Perfect in this tournament. And he should have been part of this because he was never part of a previous tournament. So I kind of messed that one up, but that's okay. That's fine. Bad News Brown. We should actually thank him because he was going to be part of Survivor Series 1990. Part of Ted DiBiase's tag team. And I think it was going to be $1 Million Man, Bad News Brown. I actually saw a Facebook post of this. That's what kind of what had me thinking about this when I saw Bad News Brown part of this. So it's going to be Honky Tonk Man, Greg Valentine, $1 Million Man, and Bad News Brown. And of course, Bad News Brown was never part of that tag team because earlier in 1990 he left the organization. He never. What happened in 1990? $1 Million Man brought in a whole new tag team member, surprise member. Here comes The Undertaker. For the next 30 years, you have one of the most iconic, legendary wrestlers of professional wrestling ever. So if Bad News Brown didn't leave, I mean, hell, would Undertaker still be part of WWF? Maybe, one day. Would he have been The Undertaker? I mean, if so, would he have had that moniker for 30 years? Who knows? So, but it's funny that Bad News Brown would constantly be like in these podcasts all the time, right? Talk about, oh, he didn't care about championship belts and you know, he just wanted the paycheck. He wanted to support his family, yada, yada. But the fact that he left WWF because he felt like Vince McMahon wasn't pushing him hard enough or that he wasn't getting the title runs that he felt like he deserved. Like, well shoot, what was it? You weren't getting the pushes that you wanted, you didn't get the belt opportunities you wanted, or did you not care about the belts, that you just wanted to get your paycheck and go home? So, I mean, he's kind of living on both sides. So, I mean, if that really was a legitimate excuse, he left WWF because he wasn't getting the title pushes that he wanted, how can he come back today and the last decade or so, going on to all these talk shows, all these podcasts, and say that, well, he never cared about being a champion and all this and that. He just wanted to come in, do his job, get paid, and go home to his family, which I always respected. But kind of hearing about the title push, now you're contradicting yourself. Now that's making me lose a lot of respect. But other than that, this is a very simple match. This is like a 2-second thought process. Mountie all day, every day. Better fighting pose, better aesthetic look. Rubber is 1,000,000 times better, obviously. I mean, the face looks much, needs some work, obviously. Big old head, but it's a Nikolai Volkov play pose compared to whatever the heck this is. No comparison. All right. So this one features, this one should be interesting. Number 32, Rick Martel, taking on number 49, Mr. Perfect from Wrestling Rider. So, a lot of the Wrestling Rider figures that I used to covet, in fact, all of my Wrestling Rider collection, one day I might actually start trying to sell that stuff off. Mostly because I just simply don't covet his customs anymore. And a lot of the customs I got from him, I don't even think he even made them. I think he bought them from other sellers. So, do I want them to be part of my collection? Probably not. I need to downsize. And even the Mr. Perfect, do I hold the Mr. Perfect as valuable as I once did? I want to say yes, because here he is in my most coveted tournament with my most coveted figures, right? So I've always liked this one because I've always appreciated like the hair of the figure. I always thought that was incredible. I always felt like it had one of the more better hairdos of the collection. The fighting pose, it wasn't quite Hulk Hogan-ish, but it always reminded me very close to the Series 1 Hogan. So that always had a lot of value to me. And with the orange and black singlet, I always loved the multicolored singlets, so that always resonated with me. And of course, the Mr. P or Mr. Perfect on the boots. So there was a lot to enjoy about this. And because he was a resin figure, of course, the head mold, it looks much more human, much more realistic in that respect. But like I said, it's a resin, it's a statue. Do statues, do resin figures mean more? Do they hold more value to me than a rubber figure? They don't. I will obviously prioritize a rubber figure more than a resin. Can a resin figure win this tournament? Absolutely. Without a doubt. Is it better than the Rick Martel? Well, I've always said that I've been more of a fan in my life growing up with of a Mr. Perfect than I was of Rick Martel. Rick Martel, I would say Rick Martel is a top 20 best LJN figure. Now, the way that the arms are shooting out the way that they are, he is close. Not quite, but he is close to a Tito Santana. And you guys know the way I feel about the Tito Santana LJNs. Top 3, top 5 worst LJN figure ever made. Horrible. God-awful figure. I don't care if you're looking at the purple Series 3 or if you're looking at the white Strike Force Series 5. God-awful figure. What were they thinking with that stupid arm? I mean, the way that the arms are straight out is already trashy. Arms down just made it even worse. The fact that Rick Martel's arms are straight out as such, very Tito Santana-ish. But the fact that they're higher and up, up instead of hands down, that helps. So it's definitely a much more playable figure. Closed fist as opposed to open hand. Again, huge difference. And even with the poking finger, you're still able to do some things over here, right? You can still kind of treat it like a punch. It's okay. Still a fun, aesthetically pleasing figure nonetheless. Greg Valentine, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. What are we talking about? What hurts those figures? Bam, bam. Simplicity. Where are all the color schemes that make those figures pop? Does Rick Martel win this tournament? He won't. I know he won't. Is he the type of figure that's going to do damage, that's going to make things interesting? That's what I care about. It's not always about the figure that's going to win the tournament. When I make these tournaments, it's not always about who wins the tournament. It's about the pathway to get to the very last figure. And that's the fun thing about creating these videos and creating each round to get to the final winner. So I don't know, man. What do you guys think about Perfect? Like, he's got like a really funky looking face, don't you think? I don't know, man. When I first pulled these, I thought maybe Rick Martel was gonna have an interesting matchup. Like, possibly he could have won this one. But I'm looking at this, I'm not so sure anymore. Yeah, instead of pulling like a lot of my original figures off my main display wall, I just go into that ring with all the extra figures and start pulling some stuff off of that. I like Rick Martel, man. You know what I like about this character in particular? I've mentioned this plenty, right? Think about AWA. Comes to WWF, gets his own LJN figure. Stays with the WWF long enough for Hasbro's to come out in the 90s. So this one comes out in 88, so 5 years later, 93, in Series 5 with Hasbro. He gets his Hasbro figure. So that's 3 straight promotions. He was able, or 3 straight action figure lines. He was able to get his own action figure. So if Ric Flair, if AWA didn't stop, if the Remco line didn't stop, and they were ongoing the same time that LJN was going, at least Ric Flair could have said, okay, I went from Remco to Galoob to Hasbro. But because Remco stopped during the same time period that LJN was going, you know, there was that break. So otherwise, Ric Flair could have joined Martel as being the 2 characters. But that's yeah. I have to go with I got to go with Mr. Perfect on this one. The perfect partner. And even with the perfect partner, Perfect, Savage, they still couldn't defeat Ric Flair and well, actually they did. I think they did defeat them. But what was it? Disqualification with Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. That was such a stupid tag team. Oh my god. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there are certain tag teams that have such an oddity. Like, it just didn't feel like a very... It just felt like a very weird pairing. I don't know. It just didn't feel natural. Like, when you saw, like, Savio Vega going up against, like, Mabel for, like, the, what was it, 95 King of the Ring, right? And then you saw, like, Razor Ramon in his corner. I could see something like that working out. We would see Razor Ramon in Savio Vega's corner. Okay. That kind of makes sense. But how the hell would a Savio Vega make it to the freaking finals in a King of the Ring? That's what I want to know. Like, I don't look at Savio Vega as like a final man standing type of deal. So, like, you see Mabel, you're thinking, okay, you want to see him go against like a Yokozuna. You want to see him go against like a Bret Hart, a Diesel, Lex Luger type, right? A Savio freaking Vega? You might as well put him against a freaking Barry Horowitz, man. That would have been more entertaining, I think. Oh god, that's another story though. Let's continue, shall we? All right, from the Raider Nation, number 59, Cactus Jack takes on number 123, Jim Brunzell, resin with no mask. Wait. Hold on, I said no mask. 123. Oh, I said no mask, not mask. So I grabbed the wrong one. Let me pause. I'm sorry, that was Jim Brunzell, no mask, versus Cactus Jack. All right. And when it comes to the no jacket, mask, resins, I actually will be able to tell B. Brian Blair from Jim Brunzell, because Brunzell has the light brown, where B. Brian Blair has like the dark brown / black hair. So that's gonna be able to tell them apart. And you know, B. Brian Blair and Jim Brunzell, they relatively have the exact same pose for the same. I think, yeah, all the figures they got the same thing. This is a tough one because, like, from Raider Nation, I really like this figure. You guys know how I feel about Outback Jack, right? Where did I put him? Number 12, I think, among my favorite original LJNs. So, you take an Outback Jack. Again, here's another thing where Raider Nation does not skimp out on utilizing, you know, the more expensive figures to customize. And you take this, you take Mick Foley, and you create an amazing Cactus Jack figure. Great graphics. You have this beautiful built-in accessory. Solid, all around, awesome looking piece, right? Even though the Jim Brunzell is a resin, I might be prepared to give another Sin Bodhi custom life in this tournament, because the head is it's fine. It's not bad. I mean, like I said in the last Killer Bee resin figure we looked at, I mean, the lines on the trunks, I mean, they're not exactly the straightest. It is what it is. The boots they're average, they're okay. But what I really like about these figures is the jacket. With the sparkly and the detail that goes into the jacket. And I love the bumblebee. Like, I think that is, I just think that's adorable. I think that's just an adorable look of the bee on the back. And I just think that's very vintage 80s look with the jacket. So that's fantastic. And you got a small glimpse of what the no jacket mask Killer Bees look like. When the time comes, will those masks taken on, let's say these, will those win? No, but I'm going to make a quick decision on this because I'm trying to keep these videos under 40 minutes. The last couple have gone, you know, well over 40. I am going to stick with the Killer Bees on this one. As much as I love, I mean, obviously from the Raider Nation, there is a reason I selected this one to be part of this tournament. And you would think, well, why does everybody else get like 5, 10, 15 minutes to make a decision? Why you choose this one's, was this match so quick? I mean, there's work. There was obviously reasons. I mean, the head, it's not like the most pristine ever, right? But I mean, I've always been a huge fan of this. I've never had any complaints about this figure. So glad that I picked this one up. I've always referred to the bat as Lucille from The Walking Dead. Loved it. Always been a huge fan. Glad to have been able to showcase this in this tournament, but I just feel like this right here is just, in this particular instance, was just the superior figure. And like I said, resin. So if this was a rubber figure, even with this particular pose, this would be a lot of fun, I think, for a lot of kids to be able to utilize a figure like this. Imagine if one day if you were to take this and kind of create like a Galoob 2-up, right? With like the Freebirds, with like Jimmy Garvin or something. So I think it's only a matter of time before that actually does happen. So Jim Brunzell joins B. Brian Blair, no mask, in round 2. Well, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the comments, and see everybody in the next video. Take care, everybody.